Daeji goes for a swim. Wah, wah. Daeji ran outside and jumped up excitedly on the tractor. He rode toward town from the farm. Today, he was scheduled for a special excursion on a boat. It was a new adventure. Daeji arrived promptly at 7 a.m. to the scuba dive shop. He was going scuba diving. Daeji had already been training in scuba. He had come the prior 2 weeks for instruction on equipment and boat safety and how to be aware of his surroundings underwater. He had reviewed hand signals in the classroom with the scuba instructor. He also had submerged himself in the pool to practice breathing underwater with the scuba equipment. Breathing sounded funny underneath the water. But that training had finished last week. Today, they drove to the port to board the boat. They found their designated boat and loaded the equipment. Some of it was heavy. Good thing he had help. They sailed out into the open sea. Daeji was so excited, he could hardly wait to jump in the sea for the first time. They arrived at the dive site, and the captain cut the engine. The team gathered in a circle and reviewed the swim route. They talked about what they might see along the way. They donned wetsuits, cinched on weight belts, and strapped air tanks to their backs with BCDs and regulators. There was so much important specialized equipment. Good thing Daeji had completed all that training. Finally, they secured their masks and fins. They dismounted from the boat. This was one of the many fun parts. Daeji did a barrel roll off the back of the boat. Splash! The water was so salty. Daeji spat it out. They convened as a group on the surface of the water after inflating their BCDs appropriately. They could float with ease. When everyone was ready, the team leader gave the signal. They deflated their BCDs and sank into the watery world below. Daeji dropped depth with his companions. The coral and the little fishies were so colorful. Many of the fish were scared and swam away. They hid in the coral. It was like a giant garden. All of a sudden, a familiar face appeared. It was Alice. Hey, Daeji, what are you doing down here in the water? We are scuba diving. It's my first time. It is so cool down here. Yes, let me show you some fun things. Alice showed Daeji how to catch little fishies and play with them. Alice showed Daeji her turtle friends that she liked to hug. Then Alice hugged a shark, but that was too dangerous for Daeji. Alice showed Daeji a cave entrance. She told him about underwater caves. They can be a shelter for water creatures, but land creatures shouldn't go in them because they might get stuck or lost inside. Underwater caves are dangerous for land creatures. Deji would need more training if he ever wanted to go in one of those. It was time to end the dive, so Deji reconvened with his scuba group and waved goodbye to Alice. They slowly ascended upward with a safety stop to help decompress their bodies. They were just hanging out, doing nothing for a few minutes. Deji thought of Bobby the Bagworm. Everyone climbed back on the boat. They started removing their scuba equipment. Deji's dive buddies helped him remove his heavy air tank. The team sat down for a debrief of the dive. They discussed what had happened and the things they had seen. Then the captain brought out the lunches. Deji had a small pot of slop, of course. Yum! The captain had been busy while the scuba team was underwater. He had to watch the water and track the weather and listen to the radio for any important notifications. Before the team surfaced, the captain also heated up the food for lunch. Wow, what a great pot of slop! What they didn't know was that there was a stowaway. Someone had hidden in the cargo hold and now was at the steering wheel of the boat. It was Misty, the naughty coyote. Bad Misty. Misty pushed the throttle and the boat lurched forward. Everyone fell to the deck floor. The ship swayed this way and that way, and nobody could get their footing. Finally, the captain reached the controls and cut the engine. Misty was in big trouble now. Bad Misty. The ship made it back safely to port. Deji was happy for a fun dive and for finishing his delicious slop before Misty caused such turmoil. The rest of the day, Deji daydreamed of his next scuba diving trip. He also daydreamed about slop! A book by DahVeed.